Hi, everybody. Welcome to the third installment of 600-Pound Therapist. And this is the big one. It's about recovery and how we move forward. Now, some of this that we talk about today, I do want to let you know, we're for the third part. This is the recovery part. It is also very hard and hopeful. I need you to know that I did write down a couple things. And the first couple I did not because it was kind of free flowing. I wanted to be authentic. I didn't want to get caught up in the screen, especially with the way my frontal lobe works. I feel like it would be very distracting. So I needed you to know that as you are going through this, if you have questions for me, you could submit them on my website, on my email. You could go on AnneCTotero.com. You can go on AnneCTotero on any of my platforms. You can look at any of it and watch any of it and let me know if there's questions you have. There's a lot I could expand on. There's a whole bunch of sections I could expand on, including the process of gastric sleeve or GLP-1s or the symptoms or insurance or advocacy at work. There's so much stuff that's in this. There's no way I can cover it all. But the biggest thing is take care of yourself when we're talking about this, because I know I am from a scar, not a wound, but some people are still in a wound. So take care of yourself as we talk about this and keep advocating. And as we chat about it, please consult your care team, your providers. I am only one person. This is only one experience. I'm not a therapist, a supervisor, nothing in relation to this. Please check out my social media policy. This is educational only. It is a story. It's AnneCTotero. This is me. This is a thing that I've gone through, a very personal experience, and it's very hard. So, and raw, to be honest. As I shared with you, if you have not watched part 1 and 2, if you're on YouTube or some other place, like, it will be linked below so that you can have the first and second part. The first part goes into what got me to 600. That's the longest. The second one is while I was 600. That is about 40 to 45 minutes. And this one is a little bit different. I do know that I didn't have anything written down on the other ones. I do have some written down that I wanted to make sure I get across today. Okay. Now, this one is really about, like, yes, recovery, where you go from here, some of the recommendations. And again, they're not clinical recommendations. They're not falling under my LLC, my insurance. They don't reflect where I work. They're just from another 600-pound person to another 600-pound person. Okay. So the first thing I want to show you, I did write this down because I didn't write the other ones down, but I needed to make sure I got some of these across. I'm doing this all in the same day. So I kind of wrote it down quickly. So I wanted to just tell you what life looks like after 600 pounds. So I'm happy to share. I am 350 pounds now. Now, some of you might be like, that's still fat. Yeah, I am still fat, but I'm not 600 pounds and I'm not waiting in the corner of my house to die. I am 250 pounds down. And that took a really long time. I did take GLP-1s before and after surgery. I took it in 2022 to 2023, and I took it again starting in 2025 when I peaked at 380 after my surgery. By the way, your body panics. I should let you know. When it sits there, it thinks you're starving. You're sitting there like, woo, not 600 pounds, but your body's like, we're dying. We're dying. This needs to happen. So it retains it. It tries to keep the fat because there are some things where fat can be helpful even on people's bodies. So those of you trying to hit 0% of body fat, not possible, won't happen. And it's not healthy for your body. Your body doesn't want it. The evolutionary your body. It's just that very openly. The amount of fat that I had is also not healthy. So when you look at things, I got gastric sleeve in 2023. I did have a successful surgery. I didn't have anything negative, but I really followed everything to a T. You can still have things come up even if you follow things to a T. Talk to your doctor. I have since starting my GLP-1 Manjaro is what I took. Lily, I love you. I love your program. Manjaro is great. It has done well for me and it helped me save my life. Both of these things, you guys, are tools. They are not the answer. There was 20 to 30 years of mental health work and physical work and medical work that I had to take to manage. I still don't have an answer what ultimately contributed, but just like one of my doctors said, the really good specialist, she's like, let's not focus on that and focus more on what we do now. And I have found that to be true. It doesn't mean that one day I won't, but at least for now, we're just focusing on this. But even since restarting my GLP-1, not everybody does. Some people do not need it. I have diabetes. I was diagnosed with diabetes. I was pre-diabetic. I took it because of that. It's covered by insurance because of that. And it will be something I manage. Diabetes runs on both sides of my family. But I want to let you know, my NSVs, we call them non-scale victories because all of those were numbers. So let's get to the real shit, like what I got back and how I saved myself. And I am reading this. I am overjoyed. I can wipe my own ass. That's number one. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's a fucking big deal to me. I don't care what anyone says. That is independence and hygiene, my friend. I can put my own tampon in, hygiene. I shower myself without my partner. I cook and clean, sometimes standing, most of the time sitting down though, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay because I have arthritis and other conditions that have nothing to do with my weight that affect me regardless if I'm fat or not. And that is just true. I say the word fat and I own it. It's not everybody likes it, but not. That's fine. My doctor calls, even though my doctor calls, I put my knees like 80-year-old knees. Ultimately, like I am doing better and there is less pressure on them. I'm still gonna have to get my knees done. It doesn't matter that I'm fat. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to get to 250 so I can get my knees done. That is my ultimate goal. Um, let's see. I hang out with my friends, family, and my partner. We go out on consistent dates. We go out in public. Do we have to figure out assisted devices and walkers and places that are short? And I use my wheelchair in long distances. That's fine. But I do want you to know I use assisted devices still. I am an ambulatory wheelchair user, which means I can get up and down and I can move things for brief periods, but I use a wheelchair. If I'm somewhere longer than 2 hours sitting down, I use my wheelchair. It's more comfortable. For walking more than 5 minutes, I use my wheelchair. I've started using a standing walker to walk my dogs, though. We go at night. Do I sit down because it's a sitting and a stand one? Yes. But that doesn't matter because I'm walking. For God's sakes, I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. I can walk now. That's so exciting. Um, Let's see, where am I? I could take my dog for a walk. I put that over and over and over again, and she loves it. It doesn't matter that I can walk 5 feet or whatever. She sits and she waits for me, and she's patient. She's old too now, so now she's old, and I'm physically disabled. So we have a good time. We hang out with each other. I'm at work in person. I teach in person on Wednesdays, and I go in person Thursday, Friday. Guys, I was completely virtual and had accommodations for years, including even for my BLS advisor. Everything was online. So now I go 4 days or 3 days a week at least. I'm going in person and I can spend all days, all weekends. I used to be able to I didn't share this last time, but I used to sit in the back seat because I couldn't fit in the front. I couldn't even get a seatbelt on. I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything. I forgot to say that. I couldn't drive. Driving was my respite and I couldn't drive. I couldn't even fit in the front seat. I drive. I'm sure Tony's happy about it 'cause he had to drive for 2 or 3 years, but I drive. I wrote my first book on my 6 weeks off. It's coming out on 9/22/2025. I have FMLA, so I can take off when I can't move, my pain is bad, and guess what? I have 0 guilt about it. I take it because my clients, they are resilient, they are wonderful. Even if they don't know my medical conditions, they understand. My clients, my boss, my colleagues are awesome. I got a new boss, which made a world of a difference, and being an advocate can make a world of a difference. And you know what? I put people I love are proud of me, and that's true. I'm somebody that I never needed validation, but it's nice, you guys. We don't need it, but it's nice. It's not something required. I'm not an external validation person because I was always internal. But I realized the acknowledgement and being seen was so important to me and how proud they are. And when they mention how proud I am, not because of the numbers that I lose, but because what I can do and not do, and I got to focus on my health. And, this is about um, hope and education. This is about not about attention and recognition for me. I don't need it. I'm going to be honest with you. This isn't about me getting a whole bunch of attention. This isn't about me getting recognition that way. I am hoping that this reaches somebody. It might just reach one. If you or someone you know is 600 pounds or they're struggling with weight, please get this to them and let them know that there is hope out there. And it's not because I'm trying to be a savior. I'm not. Well, trust me, I learned as a therapist, you just saying. People save themselves. But here's the thing, one of us can be a support. That doctor can be a support. Your family could be a support. You have to save your own life. You need help doing it, and we can help you do it. Now, it doesn't matter where you are. So I want you to know, here's my list of things that I want to say to you, okay? You are not defined by your weight. That's fucking fact. That number is a numerical value, but it's not a personal value. It never will be, and it will never define you. It is, in fact, weight, right? It's a weight for yourself. But that's the thing. You have to weigh yourself. I know that that is something that they really desensitized us to. The number is a fact. It's something that gives you information. You have to know it. So I know some people, if you have eating disorders, other things, refer to your mental health professionals because they might not want you to. But I need you to know that for me to desensitize and do exposure work about just weighing myself every day, that the flexes and ebbs and flows, but I need to know the pattern. Am I gaining or am I losing? Am I where I need to be to get my surgery? And avoiding for a year doesn't help. And it definitely just creates more shame and guilt. So get help. Realize you cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. I'm going to say it multiple times. You can't do it alone. Now I want you to know, you are definitely stronger, better, and more brave, if you get help. You are not stronger, more brave if you do it alone. I can tell you that, like, "I did this myself." What do you want, a badge of honor? You wanna sit in the corner and wait to die because you think you could do it yourself? I want you to know I was competent, educated, informed. I was a therapist. We didn't talk about that, but being a therapist, the amount of shame and guilt of like, I should know better. I should do this. Just like when my brother passed, I should know better. Gosh, but I need you to know it's not about knowing better or being aware. It's about being ready to change. And it's about that time that if it's ready to change, you need to call yourself out on it. Face the facts of the situation. GLP-1s and surgery are tools. I will scream this out from the rooftops. Okay. GLP-1s, all of you sitting there, I don't care why you're using them or if it's, but it's not going to solve the underlying problem, nor is surgery. If you have eating disorders, if you have medical conditions, if you have stressors at home, if you have people enabling, if you have people being abusive, if you have other things, if you have other things going on, those things will not change that. Okay. I know there's a lot of things like, oh, and then I was skinny and everything was great. Okay. Um, but I want to let you know that you need help and these are tools. Not for everybody. Talk to your doctor. But if you are in the preventative stage, like if you were where I was, like you're at 315, you don't want to be 600, I want you to know, fight for yourself. Ask what you need. Ask them to give you answers. It is your right. And you, as a fat person, have a right. Okay. Stand up and advocate against medical neglect and gaslighting. I had people that eventually had to do it for me because I didn't know any better. And I need you to know that is being an educated person in the healthcare system that I was stuck in it and I didn't realize it. Keep doing the work. It doesn't stop. It's rewarding, but it's a lot of work. So any of you, I just got to stop and pause this. That sit there and will have the audacity to tell any of us that a GLP-1 and gastric sleeve is the easy way out, that tells me you have no idea. If you were a family member, if you are a medical provider in that field, or you have experienced it yourself, you for a fact know it's a tool and it is not an easy way out. So, one, how dare you? Okay, how dare you? Stay in your lane. Take care of your mental health diagnoses, even if you didn't know that they were there. If you wonder if they are, just get help and ask. Find your medical advocates, know that they are wonderful people and you have people in your corner. Grief is inevitable about this. That is one thing I didn't talk about that could be its own topic, is about the grief, guilt, shame that goes into this. It is probably could have taken 2 to 3 hours, but I need you to know there is a huge thing, and I'm going to share it at the end. Maybe I'll wait. I'll wait. Um, but healing is painful and rewarding. I say being fat isn't ultimately the problem. It's a symptom of another problem. Find it and get the answers. Stop avoiding. That's the other thing. Stop avoiding. Take accountability. Take ownership for what is a choice, because you need to do that in order to survive this. You have to do that. Don't beat yourself up. Be aware and move on, move forward. Take it as information, take it as fact. But accountability and ownership of the choice is required. Stop being stubborn and get assisted devices. That's another thing. I need you to know, if you need assisted devices in your home or outside to get outside and stop isolating, do it. It's a health journey. It's not about good, bad, or in between. Switch it to a health and heart health. Switch it to things like this, paying attention to your nervous system. My biggest lesson for myself, you guys, was talking about internalized ableism and talking about the nervous system. That is huge. I started paying attention to my body and my stomach. I say, do you want it? And you know what, guys? She communicates with me. My stomach communicates. If she's full, she's full. I don't wait for the pressure. I don't wait for anything else. If she's full, she's full. And if she hurts, she's hurts. And you need to listen. Nobody else can do that for you. No system, no medication, no person. If your stomach hurts, listen. If your body hurts, listen. You have to rest and take breaks. But you have to face the fact of the medical parts of this. Spend less time on theories and diets and shame, because it will get you nowhere. But medical truth, numbers, and facts you have to face, including the choices. Find your people, you're going to know who they are. Insurance companies are really annoying, to be honest, but we need them. You can be their friend, not their foe, but it's going to take some advocacy in order to do it. It's going to take some time to do that. And know that FMLA is your right. Hopefully, you work somewhere that has that, but take FMLA, talk to your doctors, not just for surgery, but for other things. If you're preparing for the surgery and you know all the time and money and everything that needs to be done, It's important that you get all those resources done in order to do that. And the other thing is, this is a medical trauma. Okay. I just really need you to know that being 600 pounds and going through everything that's attached to it, everybody can fight me on this, but I just need you to know. Oh, sorry. I just need you to know this is a medical trauma. You don't need to like it. You don't need to agree with it. I am sharing that from my own personal experience. This is my view. I do think it is a medical trauma that has to be healed, but you have to heal it alongside. We don't need to be happy or thankful for the trauma. I don't ever agree with that, but we can be grateful to who we are because of it. And I can let you know that I, as a fact, there was a little, he's probably next to my pineapple. I was sitting over here. I do have pineapple. If you're wondering and nosy, it's no sugar added. Okay. Just pineapple. Um, so I want to let you know that it is a very important thing that to get help for the medical trauma part. Okay. Now it says, my final thought is the worst thing I've been through. This is the worst thing that I've been through in my own body. I used to, because I'm a caretaker and a perfectionist and everything else. That's another thing. Look into perfectionism and passive perfectionism. I think it is deeply correlated to weight and weight gain, especially at this level. It's not all or nothing thinking. It's not healthy or good or this or that. It's just health. It's heart health. It's a number. It's a fact. Attaching all those feelings and emotions and thoughts and theories is what makes it so messy. But I'm telling you, the all or nothing thinking will get you not happy. So I wanted to also say that none of this defines you or me. It is what it is. This is what happened. You need to face the fact that it happened. What is choice? What's medical? What do I have to do next? And that's the next thing, you guys. Just take the next step. You're taking on the world. That's what a lot of us do. Like, oh, there's just all these things. Take the next step. That's what I kept repeating to myself. Just take the next step. Just take the next step. Just take the next step. Just take the next step over and over and over again. And speaking of the whale, which I've mentioned before, and Brendan Fraser, go watch his acceptance speech when he won for that movie. I think it was the Oscars when he won for it, when he won for, but I don't know if it's best actor or best picture, but either way, go watch it. But he does this thing when he goes, just keep like, going to the light. I sat there. I wish he knows like how much that meant. And that movie meant like, I think that was a part of like saving my own life, was watching that video. I felt so validated, so seen. So when everyone's like, oh gosh, the music and sadness and fatphobic, that's the fucking reality, guys. It's so sad to be there. There's so much pain and so much grief and shame and disgust, even with yourself. Everyone else is disgusted with you. I didn't even tell you the story about the mom with her daughters. Oh my gosh. When I was finally at an appointment, that's a whole nother thing of how people treat you when you're fat. But I just want to let you know that is a huge part of it, but just keep taking the next step and keep going. Okay. The very, very perfectionism. The final thing that I want to mention before I head out. Okay. Before there's all this other story and all these other things that are to come and all these parts of it, that if you, again, want to hear more, you want to listen to the podcast, you want to go educate yourself, whatever. I need for a second to talk about internalized ableism. Okay. Internalized ableism that's attached to internalized fat phobia. Okay. The best way that I heard this put was actually there's a girl with autism that's on YouTube. I wish I could give her credit right now. I would have to look it up. Purple something. I'll have to look it up and I'll put it there. But I want to let you know she does this beautiful about internalized ableism. Okay. And this beautiful, let me see if I can find it. But she is this wonderful individual that talks about internalized ableism is what keeps us stuck. It's what contributes to keeping us stuck. But I'm just going to read it so that you can see. Internalized ableism is when a person with a disability begins to absorb and believe the negative stereotypes, the prejudices, and societal messages about disability. They begin to believe it. And it's almost like internalized discrimination, exclusion, even sometimes pity. They start to apply that. There's things like self-doubt. There's things like masking or hiding. So even if I sit here, I have this huge fupa, right? That I'm like, oh gosh, this, and that. Does my fupa really matter? Even if it's sticking out, it's not like skin's out or it's inappropriate. It's not a genital. It's literally a piece of skin and fat. but we cover it up. And I'm telling you, I still deal with that, hiding and masking and doing this and self-doubt and shame that you're a burden, that you're too much, that you're fat, that you shouldn't go out. It's going to be too much. When I'm in my wheelchair, you know what my friends say to me? Yeah, I already looked it up. It's wheelchair accessible. They look, they support. My partner does. But there's also just the internal conflict that you have. It's not the fault of the individual. Internalized ableism is something that comes from a culture that trains us that this is how we should devalue or stigmatize disabilities. And that is the same. Now attach that to fatness. Okay. That this is literally that it devalues people that are fat. They are less than. And I am here to look at you all and say, I am not less than you. I hold no less value, no less intelligence, no less capability, no less dreams, no less relationships, no less a success at work, no less healing or evolution. I'm right alongside you, whether you like it or not. And you can try to devalue or do anything you want, but ultimately that is not going to change the truth. And I want you, all of you, do your research on internalized ableism and fat phobia, because that is ultimately what we have to change deeply in this culture with the next generation, whether it's young Z's or alphas. We need to tell them that it's about health, not about what's healthy, that you need to do keto to be healthy, because keto's not good for some people, by the way. Their medical conditions, it depends on what their medical conditions are and what their body can handle. But that is ableism, that I need to walk, talk, and eat what you eat. You don't know my body and you don't know my medical conditions, and I don't want you to, and I'm not looking for you to. So stop the unsolicited advice, because honestly, I don't value it and I don't care. I will come to you and ask for advice if I desire it. And I look up and I do research, because this is ongoing work and it's mental health recovery and it is fat recovery and it is internalized ableism recovery. It is all those things. But I'm going to tell you that one of the things that changed the game for me, my PCP, which she said to me that really fought my internalized ableism, I was telling her all the things going on. And she goes, I said, I just miss being an athlete. And she goes, Anne, once an athlete, always an athlete. You're never not an athlete. And she's like, and to be honest, the fact you can even still walk at this point, she goes, you have so much muscle and muscle memory and all those things. There's no way you're not one. She goes, I don't even question that you are, because your body's like built for that, that you can move and do those things. And I want you to know, even now, one of my friends, she watched a recent video. She goes, the way that you're mobile and moving, like it makes me cry. It makes me emotional. I saw where you were, where you couldn't move. And I just need you to know those kinds of people that see you, that truly see you, whether it's your partner, your friends, your family, or a medical practitioner. And maybe, guys, maybe you're alone and it's just you, but you is enough. And maybe even beyond that, here's the final thing that I'll say. I don't really care. Mine was God, but I need you to believe in something bigger than yourself. I don't care if it's God guy. I don't care if it's baseball. I don't care if it's the hope that the world can be better, or love, or friendship, but it needs to be something. And you need to have something that you hang on to at the end of the day. Spirituality is just something bigger than yourself. It doesn't need to be all this big thing, especially people with spiritual or religious trauma. I don't want to get you all caught up in that, but you need to believe in something. Again, even if it's friendship or love or hope, it has to be something, because there's going to be a day that nothing anybody can say will feel good or work. And we need to make sure that you stay so that you can help educate and be there for other people, just like I that I chose to get up, that I chose to call for help, that I chose to do that when I was laying on my side or sitting in the corner waiting to die. I had to get up and take a step. I had to do that. And when I couldn't, I looked at Tony and said, please get me up. I got a shower. Please remind me. Don't let me say no. Don't let me do those things. And I would sob and I would cry. And anybody that knows me, I'm not a crier. I'm not a sobber. I'm a minimizer, not a maximizer. I'm somebody where a lot of people think that like fat people are all emotional. I'm the opposite. I actually think a lot of fat people, we hold a lot of stuff in. I don't care what anyone says. I think that that's the trauma retaining in our body. So I just need you to know you're not in this alone, and we got you, and I got you. And this is the start of a community where whether you're 600, 200, 300, 800, 900, you are seen. You are so valued. And I could tell you that you are here to change, whether it's your corner of the world or the whole world. Impacting one person is an impact. So I hope that this found you today, and you found just for a day to take another step, because you deserve it. And thank you for listening to my narrative about being a 600-pound therapist and all the things that I went through. And there's so much more to go, you guys. I'm 350 pounds. I have 100 pounds left. And I hope that you join me for the journey because I'm going to be sharing so much more about fat recovery and mental health recovery. And I didn't even talk about ADHD and OCD and how it ties into this because it is its own beast. But I need you to know that it's not just that. It's hypothyroidism, it's PCOS, it's medical neglect and gaslighting, it's internalized ableism, it's grief from being a um, athlete and that changing. There's grief from being a therapist and dealing with what I dealt with. There's grief from my brother and the things that I went through, the grief of the future. There's just all of these things that have just come together. And it's so important that I hope you come along for the ride and we can do this together. We don't need to do it alone anymore. It's okay to speak up. It's okay to talk about this. And I hope that those of you that maybe held some sort of negative view or maybe myth about fat people, that we're unworthy, that we're unintelligent, that we don't hold value, maybe that we're sitting here eating away our feelings in fast food, maybe that, by the way, I haven't even had soda in like 3 or 4 years. So anybody that would assume that, I've been sitting here drinking water the whole time and I had good chinko dumplings for lunch. So I say that, and I just had pineapple. So pineapple's delicious. But I say, what works for me isn't going to work for you. Talk to your doctors, talk to your loved ones, consult in threes. Mindful media is I am one person. Now take what you heard, what you agree with, what you don't, and explore. That's the point of my book, okay? Is things to consider. Things to consider is all about that. It's about just having a place to start to have a conversation. And this was the start. It was terrifying. It was scary, but thanks for being along for it. And what I can say is, please drop me lines if there's questions or anything you want me to expand on. This is really just a shortened version of one experience of one person, but I would love to share more because I don't want you to think that you are alone because none of us are. And there's a lot more to go. Here's all these improvements, and there's a lot more to go because in 100 pounds, you're going to come along the ride for me, and we're going to get that knee surgery, and we're going to not be the way they were because that never happens. I will never be who I was. It's not possible. You don't move on, you adapt. I'm ready to adapt and evolve alongside you. So, as always, check out my platforms, AnneCTotero.com, TikTok, and everywhere. Anywhere you'd like to go. And I appreciate you being here. And as always, evolve and heal on. My sweet, sweet friends.